records agree, then maybe this year Santa's coming home to me. I have found the perfect tree and dressed it to the nines. I've even made little gingerbread Santas. There's nothing left to chance. This year, Santa's coming home to me. There's a rumor spreading all over town, but of course it's not true. They say Santa ain't coming around. Trust me, I'm waiting up for you, coming down my chimney on Christmas Day. Will be a sight for sights to see. This year Santa Claus is coming home to me. Yeah, this year Santa Claus is coming home to me. All year long I've been keeping track of when I've been naughty and nice. And from what I can tell, I've done more good deeds than I've told lies. I can only hope that Santa Claus and my records agree. Then maybe this year Santa's coming home to me. I have found the perfect tree and dressed it to the nines. I've even made little gingerbread Santas. There's nothing left to chance. This year, Santa's coming home to me. There's a rumor spreading all over town, but of course it's not true. They say Santa ain't coming around. Trust me, I'm waiting up for you, coming down my chimney on Christmas Day. Will be a sight for sights to see. This year Santa Claus is coming home to me. Yeah, this year Santa Claus is coming home to me. cards agree, then maybe this year Santa's coming home to me. I have found the perfect tree and dressed it to the nines. I've even made little gingerbread Santas. There's nothing left to chance. This year, Santa's coming home to me. There's a rumor spreading all over town, but of course it's not true. They say Santa ain't coming around. Trust me, I'm waiting up for you, coming down my chimney on Christmas Day. We'll be side by side to see. This year Santa Claus is coming home to me. Yeah, this year Santa Claus is coming home to me.
What a feeling, now it's time for Christmas. And Christmas is my favorite time of year. It's beginning to look like all my wishes are coming true, that's why I cheer. I've been busy decking the halls. I've been kind to big and small. And now it's time to have a merry holiday. What a feeling when it's time for Christmas. Let's sing a carol and we'll bring it here. I guess that spring and summer, they're all fine. But I've been waiting for the season that's mine. So let it come, yeah, let it come. Snowflakes fall, I can hear the sleigh bells call. They're saying it's time to have a merry holiday. What a feeling, now it's time for Christmas. And Christmas is my favorite time of year. It's beginning to look like all my wishes are coming true, that's why I cheer. I've been busy decking the halls. I've been kind to big and small. And now it's time to have a merry holiday. What a feeling when it's time for Christmas. Let's sing a carol and we'll bring it here. I guess that spring and summer, they're all fine. But I've been waiting for the season that's mine. So let it come, yeah, let it come. Snowflakes fall, I can hear the sleigh bells call. They're saying it's time to have a merry holiday. What a feeling, now it's time for Christmas. And Christmas is my favorite time of year. It's beginning to look like all my wishes are coming true, that's why I cheer. I've been busy decking the halls, I've been kind to big and small, and now it's time to have a merry holiday. What a feeling when it's time for Christmas. Let's sing a carol and we'll bring it here. Let's sing a carol and